Hi, I'm Ian Taylor. You're watching The Villa View. Up the Villa.
Hello and welcome back to The Villa View for what feels like the first video that Dan and I have done together for some time, because we had different bits and pieces out over the past few weeks that's already done. But anyway, Dan Rolinson went down to the Fan Consultation Group meeting earlier on this week, and Dan and I are going to sort of digest and dissect what we've got in front of us, which is some of the agenda notes and some of the things that was discussed. You may remember about a month ago we asked for your questions and to put forward in these fan consultation meetings, and we've had some of them answered, and plenty of other things has come out as well. So it's time to discuss what was actually said in the meeting.
First off, it's good to be back with you, Matt, because to be honest, I enjoy working with you more than Tom Julian. First thing that was discussed at the meeting on Wednesday night was catering. So basically Villa know that the catering and confectionery side of things hasn't been great over the last few years, so they are working to improve it and looking to improve it. So investment is being spent on the catering retail and looking at the service triangles and replacing equipment to improve the transaction times. I'm hoping Matt's going to know what a service triangle is, because I haven't got a clue.
I mean, does it mean like from queuing to, I don't even know. I reckon it's some sort of diagram that involves the chain between getting your food and ordering it as such. I'm guessing anyway.
Can anyone look at what a service triangle is?
The service triangle, right, we've had to look at this ever so slightly, but I had a bash at what I think it is, and it's basically the chain between the moment that the supplier gives the food to the club and then how the club go about serving the customers, the fans, and that's essentially how it works.
I've got to admit, I've not really noticed too many problems with it, because I think I get there so early because of my dad. I don't have to go there in peak time, so when I go there, there's no queue or anything, so I just pick up what I want and go back to my seat, pretty much. I don't know whether you've suffered any problems with the catering at Villa.
Actually, I live tweeted how it took me 20 minutes to get a Mars bar last season.
Really? That's
I remember
cool.
that was on Twitter. How it took me 20 minutes to get a Mars bar, and it was still more interesting than the game of football. I can't remember, it was towards the end of the season. But yeah, that was interesting to say the least.
Cutting edge tweets, you are justifying your 6,000 followers with tweets like that.
Investigative journalism at its cutting edge.
It really is.
Next point that was raised, Dan, is the club have announced Heineken as their new beer partner last year, and the question was, with the changing culture of beer in the UK, with a focus on craft and local beers, what is being done to address this? Basically, the club said that 95% of the beer sales are through the regular demanded products, which to me is understandable, but they said they want to try and cater for everybody, and they're in discussions with Heineken to try and explore what craft beer products could be offered to cater for the 100%, not just the 95% of the beer sales that they make.
I'm guessing this has stemmed from Brighton away, where they ask the away fans to suggest a guest ale before they visit, so that when they get there, there's an ale that people from that area are familiar with, which I think is a good concept for away fans. I'm not sure whether it's going to work as well for home fans, because there just will be so much variety of what people want. But a few more options on the beers would be nice. It'd be nice if they were a little cheaper as well, to be honest. But I see the point they're trying to make. I don't know whether you agree.
To be honest, I normally drive when I go to the game, so I never really have a drink, but I can understand this is an issue and it's something that they're trying to address, and it's good to see they're actually openly looking at the idea of craft beers. They haven't snubbed the idea of it. They're actually going to try and do something about it.
I think this does show that the club do take everything that's said on board. The fact that they're even considering it shows that in my eyes. You'll be pleased to know we've now got one final bit of catering news, so this is the last thing you'll have to listen to me and Matt talk about. So one of the questions was, to improve the matchday experience around Villa Park and catering offering, would the club consider holding a trial street food event? So the whole car park is actually going to be licensed, so they can hold events next season on match day. So that's something that the club are actively looking to do. Apparently it's not something that will be done every match, because it takes a lot of planning and cohesion amongst partners, I guess, to make it happen. So the club won't be doing that every game, but it is something they are actively looking to do next season. Matt, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, because for me, it's not so, I go there to, this is just me personally, so obviously there's people who have different opinions to me amongst the Villa fans, but to me, I go there to see the football. Stuff like that doesn't particularly make a difference to me.
I think this is about youth engagement. It's something that Keith Warner's touched on in the AGM a few months back, is that They have to get that new breed of fan, because if you look around Birmingham at the moment, for example, the demographic is a lot of people of a young age are looking to go and support Man City and Man United, and it's about engaging the younger fans. To me, I've interpreted this as a fan zone. As such, it works quite well at other clubs. Man City is the shining example of City Square, I think it's called, outside the Etihad, where they've got different events going on, different sort of foods to have, just to give that fans that extra bit on a match day so they can go a bit earlier. Because if you get there at 1 o'clock, like you do, Dan, you're waiting 2 hours before the match. It gives you that extra something to do, that extra bit of engagement. And to me, I think it's an important idea to utilise the space we've got there. And to me, if it makes the experience even better for younger fans, it encourages them to come back. And then as they get older, they want to be a part of the club. The example of this is my brother, for example, who was so disengaged when he first started going to the football. He was more interested in looking at the flags. And he was more interested in the fan zones and the fun bits to it, like on the fun days inside the Academy Centre before the game than the actual game. So I think it's important to have the fan zones for that reason.
You fought me off quite well there, to be fair to you. So that's catering done now.
Yeah, I'm no Greg Wallace or John Terode, are we? But, I mean, we tackled that one okay, I think, to be fair.
You know, who was the second guy you said?
John Terode.
John Throne?
Terode.
Terode? Who's that? More of a Nigella kind of guy.
We'll shift on to more familiar ground than match days. First thing that was brought up is the lack of half-time entertainment. Now, I think this is a perfect time to show the video of you attempting to... What was it you were trying to do?
Kick the ball into the centre circle, I think. Or kick the ball towards the halfway line. Didn't go very well there.
Next up, we go Dan Bardell. Hey! The Peaky Blinders cap on in 3, 2, 1.
The club have basically said they're attempting to improve on the aspects of every part of matchday experiences, including what people want to see, but not necessarily sure whether fans want to be entertained everywhere they turn on a match day, which I think is understandable. At half-time, it's nice to have a few activities, but let's face it, who's actually watching apart from your parents?
I don't know. After my experience of half-time entertainment, let's not bring it back, because I don't want people to go through the harrowing things that I went through that day. That was worse than missing the penalty at Villa Park. That was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Next up is a bit more about the match day experience. The entrance music is mentioned here. I think the club like the fact that they've had Hi Ho Silver Lining playing before the games. That's really created a good atmosphere because it is a Villa anthem. To be fair, I don't think, in my opinion, they've not got the entrance music right yet. So that was something that was mentioned at the forum. So it's a careful line to tread to ensure that we're pleasing fans, but we're also getting players suitably fired up to go out there and perform, which ultimately is what we all want. They're looking at developing a AVFC Spotify playlist that they'll encourage people to follow and engage with, and they will use this in the build-up to games from next season, and we'll take feedback from the fans of what songs that we think should go on that playlist. The entrance music ultimately will be decided by the captain, whoever that may be. So if John Terry joins, hopefully he's got a good taste in music and wants to get the club fired up, ready for promotion. Matt?
To me, it has to be Hi Ho Silver Lining, personally.
To actually walk out to Hi Ho Silver Lining?
I think it could work, but it drove me around the bend, the Conor Horan song did.
Yeah, it's not great.
Walking out to that. I'm sorry, but it did. Anything's an improvement on that. I also liked the other one that we used for a stage.
I liked Craig Armstrong Escape.
That's the one.
The opera one, that's the one I liked. They got rid of that.
I like that as well, yeah.
They got bring that back. That's what I want to see it back in. It's a Keith Winus initiative to involve the captain. That's what he wants to do. So that's a good thing that they are involving the players, because ultimately they're the ones that we want to get fired up. I can't imagine the ones we had last season fired the players up too much.
Next point that was discussed is Project B6, something that we've mentioned quite a lot in our videos. Jointly ran by AV, The Informer, and Bruce Rioch, both on Twitter and on Facebook. And essentially it's a fans' venture to try and improve the atmosphere in Villa Park with flags and streamers and banners and stuff. It went fairly okay last season. They started to build up momentum, but basically the club said they've met with Project B6 and they're going to try and support their venture in any way possible, which I think is really important that they do that, because at the end of last season a lot of flags were lost because nobody was that well informed about what the project was, and they thought they could just walk out with these flags. Yeah,
the Project B6 thing is a really good initiative, and I think it is something that the club have to support, in my opinion, because again it's something that improves the atmosphere, and the atmosphere over the last few years hasn't been great. I don't think the flag stealing was anything malicious, but I do think it's something that could have been communicated better. So hopefully with the club on board, that's something that will happen in the future, and there'll be communication and the flags will get returned and people will be able to use them the next game. I don't see why anyone would be against this initiative, because it is a really positive one for the club, and it is something to get the atmosphere going again. And if you were saying earlier your brother was interested in little brother was interested in the flags and stuff, it's something that makes it a bit more special for the younger Villa fans. So again, that helps with engagement.
Quick note on that is they're currently trying to fan fund for a special display for the Graham Taylor game that will be taking place at Villa Park 7 weeks away, and they're trying to desperately find the funds from fans to be able to do something special for that. The
next one is actually something that was brought up in one of the comments to our video, where we asked fans to what they wanted asking at this meeting. So it's to do with terrorism and security, and apparently supporters, well, not apparently because I've seen it myself, but supporters have been able to smuggle in flares which have been set off in the ground as well. But the wider issue obviously is the terrorist threat in the country at the moment. So the club have actually had complaints from people complaining about being searched, so it's a bit of a catch-22 for the club really. You have to have heightened awareness in the climate that we live in at the moment, but then the other side of the coin is people obviously don't like the fact that they're being searched. So it is a difficult one for the club, because they have to abide by laws and they can't search anyone under 18, which is probably where the flares are emanating from as well. So the club actually have a good relationship with the police, so it is something they're in discussions with them about, but there's nothing really too concrete for us to bring to your attention, other than the fact the stewards are receiving extra training in the build-up to the new season.
The bottom line here is safety is paramount, and they've made it perfectly clear that it will be the case. Moving on to ticketing now, Dan, something that's an issue for so many fans, and I know me personally it's affected as well, probably you as well. First point that was brought up is that currently for tickets at home that you print at home, you still have an admin fee, which seems balmy considering you're paying for your own printer, ink, etc. And the club said basically there'll be a change in the booking fee structure, including the introduction of no booking fee for print at home tickets purchased online, and full details being announced soon. Important for me, because really I don't get why you get a booking fee anyway for something like that.
Booking fees in general do my head in a bit, and admin fees when you get tickets for gigs and stuff. Obviously I've not really dealt with printing Villa tickets because I've got my season card, so it's not something that I've come across, but I can see why it would annoy people. It would annoy me if I was doing it, so it's good that the club are putting measures in place to stop that happening, and yeah, fair play to them. So staying with tickets, the club will get a lot of complaints about their online ticket service. I must admit, when I was buying away tickets, I had a few problems with it that I escalated to the club, so you'll be pleased to know they have a new ticketing software in place, and that will be starting the week commencing July the 10th, which is good news. So hopefully we'll see an improvement. The club have obviously moved ticket partners. I don't think the club were happy with their previous partner, but they were tied in to a long contract, so now they can move away from that contract that hasn't been renewed, that's run out, it expired. So the club are moving away from that now. They've got a new ticket partner, so hopefully there'll be a better customer experience for the Villa fans. As I've just sounded like Steve Hollis, the club are actually changing from client reference to fan ID. So your former client reference will now be called fan ID. A little tidbit of information there. The club expect that there may be a few teething problems at the start, but it will be a big move forward for the club in the long run, and a big step forward.
We'll move on now to supporter engagement and welfare. First point that was brought up is, can the club please provide some supporters with an update on the forthcoming new loyalty programme? And they've basically said they've invested in a new programme available through the web and through the Villa app, which will reward fans for online engagement and for spend with the club. And they're also introducing a new e-cash system, which is introduced to be integrated with the new rewards scheme, and allows fans to spend at Villa Park and beyond with their season card. More news to be released in July. This was brought up in the AGM, and it was brought up as well in Luke Organ's interview that he did with Villa online, where basically said that they're going to reward fans with little small things, such as a free pint at half-time or something.
Yeah, good. I think they needed to change what they were doing before. I don't really think Villa Cash was working in the main. So obviously we don't know what the stuff's going to be yet, but we're obviously hopeful that it's going to reward loyal fans, because that's what you want at the end of the day. If you're putting your time and your money into your club, you want to see some sort of recognition. So the club are obviously working towards that now, and hopefully this new system will take off and it will be worthy of the fans. What is the club's alternative to the EFL's iFollow? solution. So will UK-based supporters who spend time overseas, whether for work or vacation, have the opportunity to purchase access to the streaming service? I think by the looks of things, the answer to that is yes, because it looks like the club are going to go with a match-by-match basis for their streaming service rather than offering it as an annual subscription. I think the main reason for that is the fact that we're obviously, a lot of our games are going to be moved for Sky as they were last season, and if Villa are to be successful, which we hope they are, then obviously the more games will move. So they didn't want to offer a yearly subscription fee and then find that we were only able to offer it to the overseas fans a handful of times. So basically, you'll pay, like pay-per-view for Sky Sports Boxing, you'll pay for the ones you want to watch if you're a Villa fan overseas, which I think is good news and should be well received. And I think they are looking after the fans by not offering a yearly subscription, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that works well. I think it's beneficial to do it that way because of the potential of Villa having so many games on Sky, where we must point out that basically Villa can't stream a game if Sky are showing that game, which I think is fair enough to a degree. And I think that was brought up in the comments section as well about the fact that why can't Villa stream games when Sky are, and it's because basically it's part of the contract from Sky that Villa can't do that.
Yeah, and I think Villa are hopeful that their solution is actually going to be better than the iFollow solution as well. So hopefully the fans abroad will get a good experience and be able to enjoy watching the matches, as obviously they can't be there.
Obviously it's a little bit sketchy at the moment. Hopefully hear a bit more soon. I know a lot of the subscribers from abroad have been asking about this and what's going to happen with this, so hopefully we'll get some more answers for you soon on the system they're going to have equivalent to iFollow. Next one is something that I've sort of campaigned for quite strongly on Twitter in particular. I know a lot of fans are quite strong on this one, is that what are the club going to do to support fans with autism? Clear examples of actually sensory rooms working really well is Watford launched one last season, and Sunderland both have launched really good sensory rooms that benefits fans that may suffer with autism, and basically they've looked at using a North Stand box to do so. I think this is really important. I think it's an important step forward into more inclusion for every fan, whoever you are.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want every Villa fan to be able to go and enjoy watching their club. So this is obviously they're offering something, well, they're hopefully going to offer something that isn't available at the moment, which will enable fans with autism to enjoy the game, which is what you want, because you want every Villa fan to enjoy their match day experience. Basically,
a lot of this is probably in the public domain already, so we probably know most of it, but we'll bring it up anyway because it's been mentioned in the Fan Consultation Group. First one is, when can fans expect the new sponsor? Basically, that's going to be tomorrow. The QuickBooks deal will conclude basically today, and then we'll be announcing the new sponsor tomorrow.
2 years of hurt with QuickBooks. I'll be glad to see the back of them.
I'll be glad to see the back of the M&M.
What's the M&M? That's a little emblem.
On match days, the mascot.
Oh, him. Oh, he's never done anything to you. Leave him alone.
I don't like green M&Ms, so anyway, that's another matter for another day. Other thing that was brought up is, when will supporters be able to purchase the new home kit? Answer to that is going to be at the end of July. Pre-sale period starts tomorrow when they release the new kits, and then there's going to be a pre-sale period, and then they'll be released properly so fans can actually get their hands on them at the end of July. Then the final point from Dan is the one that's quite important. Safe standing. In the last week, Shrewsbury Town have applied to be the first English professional side to have safe standing, and Northampton Town have also followed suit in doing that. On the note of this, Villa said they're going to look into some research into it and understand some of the attitudes from fans on the matter, and it's something that Keith Warness in particular is a big fan of. I know that. He's looked into it for the past 10 years or so I think it's an important step, and I think it could really work at Villa Park.
Yeah, if we can do it obviously safely, then there's no reason not to do it. And again, it's another atmosphere thing. You want the atmosphere to be as good at Villa Park as it can be, and I think safe standing would aid that, in my opinion. So we've just got some other notes that our scribe Daniel Rolinson has jotted down for us as well. So the Upper Trinity will remain closed next season as it stands, because I don't think the demand is there for tickets. We very rarely sell out as is, so the Upper Trinity isn't going to be open as it stands, but it may well open for certain games like it did last campaign.
Supply and demand, isn't it, as such, and if we can fill it, then they'll open it. Simple as that, really. Graham Taylor match, touched on it briefly, Dan. It is going to be moved to Villa Park because of pitch work at Watford. On a selfish note, I'm quite happy for this because it means the Villa fans can give the send-off that Graham Taylor deserves. And apparently it would only been around 4,500 Villa fans otherwise that had been able to go to Vicarage Road. So it's a real chance for lots of Villa fans to get down there and remember him.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that wasn't a full house.
Final one, I think this is the most important one, picked up on a lot of heat on social media, this did as well, is the fact that lots of players were pictured out doing a pre-season in Portugal. Basically, the club have said that these players were voluntary, decided to go out there and do it. The club decided to put these villas, but it was totally voluntary to go out there. And apparently 12 actually went out there, which is a real surprise. And it's quite good to see that so many players are willing to go out there to have a pre-season.
Yeah, I think Dan Rolinson said the club were only expecting 3 or 4 to take up the offer, and it is good of the club to put that on, but ultimately it does benefit the club, the fitter the players are. It's quite pleasing to see the likes of Gabby and Mika Richards take time out to go there and try and get themselves fit for the pre-season. It shows that they mean business and they want to do well. They've taken a lot of stick for things that they haven't done and for their fitness, so to see them there in pre-season, fair play to them. They deserve credit because obviously they were 2 of the 12 that went. We're not sure on the exact 12, but we know from Instagram that those 2 were definitely there.
So that's the fans consultation meeting that happened this week. We hope we've relayed some of the things that we've been finding out that the club have been doing to help the fans and just keep that engagement going between the 2. If you have got any questions, as per usual, please do put them below. We'll be asking for more questions, I'm sure, in the future for the next fans consultation meeting. But for now, if you have enjoyed this video, then please do drop us that like below and subscribe with your post notifications on if you're new to the Villa View. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. And don't forget to subscribe. Click on our logo there on the left and press subscribe. Easy.